if you ask me who has an advantage, I would have to say George Bush has the advantage, Vice President Bush, because he has an organization which he has developed for 6 or 7 years. He has a lot of money, and he has the advantage of being in office. He has the disadvantage that no sitting vice president has been elected since 1836, because it's an office in which it is very difficult to show your real qualities. But I would have to say that Bush has the upper hand at this moment. But this could change with one election, in one primary election in 1984. Gary Hart, in all public opinion polls, had 3% of the votes. Then in Iowa, he got 15%. That's not a great figure either, except when people expected him to get 3. So the next week, he went in New Hampshire to 46%. There could be an outcome like this in Iowa. If Dole wins big in Iowa, and it's a state next, if Dole loses in Iowa, he's finished. Because Iowa is a state next to Kansas. If he can't win Iowa, it will be believed he can win nothing. If Dole wins in Iowa, that will be worth 4 or 5 points to him in New Hampshire. Now, is he within 4 or 5 points of winning in New Hampshire? I can't tell.
You think that the re-entry of Gary Hart into the race is really affecting other candidates of Democrat Party?
Well, I don't think Hart has any chance of getting the nomination at all. I think his entering the race again is totally irresponsible. But I think what he has done, for example, is Senator Simon was doing quite well in Iowa. And Hart still has a residue of support from his last campaign in Iowa, which seems to come at the expense of Senator Simon. Now, this may be to the benefit of Governor Dukakis from Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, right. Doctor, when will know who is going to win the race, presidential race, this year?
I think we will know on the Republican side, or we may know on the Republican side after the so-called Super Tuesday.
Okay.
If Vice President Bush is way ahead after the Super Tuesday, then he will almost certainly get the nomination. And I think one or the other of them will be ahead after Super Tuesday, and he will then probably get the nomination.
If Vice President Bush will have any problems in his pursuit of this presidency, what are those, Doctor?
Oh, in that case, I think Dole will almost certainly get the nomination, unless Bush were to collapse totally in the very early going, and some candidate appears like Hart did in '84 for the Democrats. But among Republicans, that isn't likely. So I think it will be either Bush or Dole.
Vice President Bush got through very successfully Iran-Contra issue. And do you see any danger ahead on him, Vice President?
On the Iran-Contra thing?
Or other issues, if anything affects.
I don't know any
Judge
issue
Bush.
which would be any particular danger to him. Of course, there may be one that I don't know about, but I can't conceive it. And I think there will be no huge surprises.
Doctor, my final question is that I think you've met a lot of world leaders in your life so far. And would you tell us some of them who really impressed you?
Well, Zhou Enlai, Mao
Zedong,
Mao Zedong, de Gaulle, Adenauer, Margaret Thatcher, the Japanese Prime Minister Sato was a remarkable man, as was Ohira. Those were two men for whom I had both very high high regard. Brezhnev was sort of a very Russian personality, although not of the quality of the others. Gorbachev is an impressive man. I've met him twice now. Very impressive.
Because of his activeness?
Because he's more lively than previous Soviet leaders, more flexible in argument, also more dangerous.
I say, dangerous.
Yes.
Well, Doctor, my closing statement is this. When I was reading your book here, it reminded me of the day when I was reading Memoirs of Winston Churchill. Your book was as great as Memoirs of Winston Churchill.
Well, that's a very great compliment, for which I thank you, and let me thank your audience for its patience, and once again wish them a very happy New Year.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you very much.